Hi everyone, it's Last Angry Geek, and it's time for another one of our comic book issue vlog reviews. This time we're looking at Batman vs. Superman. I think we all know that Man of Steel was a pretty terrible movie. It got a lot of things wrong with Superman. That said, Batman v Superman, BVS, is a better movie than Man of Steel. But unfortunately this time all that means is that this was an average movie. It was a mediocre movie. It was just okay. There isn't much to love in BVS, but there isn't much to hate either, which is an improvement over being a terrible movie full of things to hate like Man of Steel. The big problem with this film is it was much too ambitious. They're trying to set up the Justice League. They're trying to set up this whole universe. Rather than have a bunch of individual films lead into the Justice League, they're just doing like 1-2 Justice League. You know, it's a bit too much in this film. They're trying to shove too much in, and that hurts it. For instance, there are way too many dreams, way too many flashbacks. Batman being attacked by the Bat in his mother's grave. The whole dystopian future ruled by Superman. And what the hell was with the Flash coming back in time from that? I mean, there was no payoff for that. The Flash says, you were right about Superman, you have to save Lois. And he never saves Lois. And Superman dies at the end. So what was the fucking point? Oh, wow. And this movie had more endings than Return of the King. I mean, end! I was just screaming by it. End! I think we complained Man of Steel was too long too, and like this one, it's just like, you know, here's the funeral, here's the other funeral, here's the Justice League formation, he's not dead yet. And story-wise, why did we need to go from The Dark Knight Returns to Death of Superman? What was the point of killing him off? What was the point of bringing Doomsday in? You don't need Doomsday. Lex Luthor is the villain. Put him in the purple power suit. Defeat him. That's your ending. That's satisfying. Not just bringing a monster that looks like a troll from Lord of the Rings out of left field to get beat up at the end. I don't know. Killing off Superman just made no point other than he has to have this huge sacrifice to win back the people's trust. I guess that's what they were going for, but it seemed like just defeating Doomsday would have been enough. Especially if he did it without destroying Metropolis this time. And he kills another villain! Why does every movie end with Superman killing the bad guy? Yikes. That whole dark side thing at the end seemed tacked on. I mean, that's what they were hinting at. The bell's been rung. People out there know Superman is dead now. They're hinting at Darkseid because they're building up to him for the Justice League movie. There were some things I liked about this movie. For instance, the Martha connection. I'm sure at some point I knew Batman and Superman's moms had the same first name, but it was a nice way to humanize Superman in Batman's eyes for him to suddenly see Superman as a person instead of an enemy by realizing their moms had the same first name. And I didn't see that bombing coming. I'm sure a lot of people did, but I'm just bad at reading clues. So that surprised me. That was a shocking moment. I think they played it well. I'm glad they finally brought in Kryptonite. But again, instead of just holding Kryptonite and killing him, now they have to turn it into a gas for him to breathe in. So it's just like last film, the right atmosphere, the right gases take away his powers. This time it's green rocks that have been crystallized into gas. Or it's either made into a gas or it's made into a sharp weapon, a blade. I mean, just being near Kryptonite should hurt Superman. So they changed the rules on that, but at least they brought it in. I did like the DC Universe building that they did in the movie. I did like the little cameos by the Justice League with the exception of that big Flash thing. We didn't need that. We just needed the video footage of him like we did for Aquaman and Cyborg. I liked that they had the mother box in there. I liked that there were parademons working for Superman in the future. So just little hints of the DC Universe that they were a little more subtle with it and shove in our face, you know. That I liked. The big problem with this movie is I didn't feel an emotional connection to any of these heroes. They never make you care for any of the heroes, so you don't really root for them or care what happens to them. And it should be easy to root for Batman. They show him getting orphaned. That's a terrible moment. You should feel empathy for him. But then they jump to like 20, 30 years later, and he's this grizzled veteran crime fighter, and I feel like we missed the journey there, and I just can't connect that little boy to the Bruce Wayne we got in the movie. And there aren't too many good performances. Every kind of performance is average. It's just okay. It's reading the lines competently. There weren't many who did a really good job. Amy Adams, who I said was very good in Man of Steel, is still very good in this. I think she's the best thing about this movie. And Holly Hunter was also very good. All right, let's break it down. First off, Superman. Again, Henry Cavill's just a very kind of bland character. He doesn't play Superman and Clark Kent very different from each other. It's just a matter of haircut, glasses, or sweep back haircut and cape. You know, it's just the costume defines who he is instead of his performance. And there should be more of a difference in Clark Kent and Superman. There should be, you know, slouch, a different voice, and a different voice. You know, just little things like that. And he's not a very subtle performer, so... And also the whole love affair was kind of thrown in at us with Lois. I mean, they admit that like 2 years has gone since Man of Steel, so I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility that he and Lois are in a relationship now, but I would have liked to have seen that build up and maybe just like, I know I just complained about flashbacks, but maybe show a flashback of his time in from Man of Steel to BVS, showing what he's been doing, covering him with reports and maybe showing the connection to Lois, so we, like the bad guys, could realize that there's that connection to Lois that they can take advantage of to get Superman where they need to be. It's just kind of dumped in our laps and we have to accept it. And I'll say it again, we didn't need to kill him at the end. The only reason to do that is so we can come back in the next film and really be Jesus, which defeats the purpose of Superman trying to prove he's a man, not a god. No, he died for our sins and now he's resurrected. He really is Space Jesus. But he's not meant to be. He's meant to be the man who puts on the cape and pretends to be a god, not a god pretending to be a man. Grant Morrison! As for Batman, I don't know, Ben Affleck just seemed a little too young, babyface, to play a grizzled old crime fighter. I know he's probably the right age, but to me, Batman, middle-aged Batman should be a little more beat up, scarred. It just seemed like he was too pretty to have been Batman for all this time. And also, he's not a very good detective. They show him doing great detective work, but then Lex just mails him some letters with some writing on it, and he goes completely bananas and loses his emotional cool. He's spent so much time thinking of Superman as his enemy and seeing him as responsible for this explosion in Congress, and he never does any detective work to back it up. He just lets other people lead him there. And I didn't think that rang true for Batman. And also, he spends all this time calling Superman a killer. What does he think happens to these people when he's shooting their cars and blowing them up? He was responsible for a lot of deaths in this movie. He's throwing those cars everywhere. People are getting crashed and killed. He's shooting them. They're blowing up. He's killing people. Batman is just as much a killer as Superman in this film. And that's not who he's meant to be. And Wonder Woman by Gal Gadot. What about her? Well, she looked the part. And I like that they gave her an accent. Every time Wonder Woman shows up in Man's World, she talks with an American accent. Here she had the, I assume, Greek accent. And I liked that we had the still image from the Wonder Woman movie they're doing now, because I saw Chris Pine next to her in that black and white image. That's a nice way to establish that the character isn't human, that she's, well, more than human. Here she is, she's been around for at least 100 years and she hasn't aged. That's setting up the mystery of Wonder Woman that pays off in the final battle, I suppose. But she just didn't have much to do in this film. Hopefully, she'll prove to be a better, more competent actress in the Wonder Woman movie. Lois Lane, as played by Amy Adams, is, again, one of the few good actors in here, just like in Man of Steel. She emotes, and I believe it. She's concerned about Superman. I believe it. She's in love with him. I believe it. She feels bad that all these people died because she was used. I believe it. She's determined to get to the bottom of the story. I believe it. So Amy Adams is a good actress, and she did a great job here. But you remember how everyone was upset that Alice Eve appeared in her underwear in the second Star Trek? Well, it's the same kind of thing here. Why did she have to be naked in a bathtub for that whole scene with Superman? Wasn't that a bit extraneous? She's a good enough actress to emote vulnerability. We don't have to literally have her naked to know that she's feeling vulnerable. It just seemed really odd. Alfred, Martha Kent, and Perry were all kind of wasted. Alfred's just there to quip. Martha's just there to feel sorry for her son. Perry's just there to yell at Clark. These are all three good actors, and they're just not used to the best of their ability. Holly Hunter, again, this was one of the better performances. I can't remember the senator's name. It'll appear right here. She was really good. She really felt like she was kind of working against something here. Like, she's now in Superman's world, and she's trying to prove to everyone that man still has a place in it, that humanity is still in charge, even if she herself doesn't necessarily believe that. But she doesn't want to take the deal with Luthor because she knows that's going to blow up in her face. She knows that's just going to lead to an escalation, to war, to violence, and more people dying. I thought the courtroom scene was really well done with her, because just when she sees that teen, she just kind of looks at the chair, and you can just see it, all the wheels turning there till it all connects, and she realizes what's about to happen, and then it's too late. And she just sells that with her face. So Holly Hunter and Amy Adams, you ladies did a great job in this film. I'm sorry it wasn't a better movie. And let's talk about Lex, baby. Jesse Eisenberg. I said going into this from the trailers, it looked like Jesse was playing the Joker. I'm going to amend that. He's not playing the Joker. He's playing the mad bomber what bombs at midnight from The Tick crossed with the Riddler. He's not insane, but he's emotionally damaged enough that he has to prove his own superiority, not by saying he's superior, but by being better at playing God than God is. And he's constantly mumbling to himself, and you can tell he's not right up here. And it's an interesting performance, it's a competent performance, but it's just not Lex Luthor. I can understand wanting to play an iconic character differently from the people who've played it before you. Lex Luthor is the quintessential evil businessman. Jesse's playing this character as this damaged, broken genius with many, many emotional problems. That's not Lex. Lex is a narcissist. He's a xenophobic egomaniac. He is the quintessential evil businessman. And that's how you need to play him. You can take variations of that, but that's who the character is. That's what we needed for this film. And this Lex was just misplayed, maybe even miscast. Why do dead fathers keep coming back to life in the sequel? Pa Kent, Uncle Ben's waiting for you. Head out that door, don't come back. Okay, I've said it before, Man of Steel sucked. This one didn't suck. It was okay. It was just okay, though. Hopefully that means that Justice League will be good. Hopefully Suicide Squad will be good. I've got a lot of hope for Suicide Squad. It looks really good. It's the first DC movie I've had hope for. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully Justice League is great if they keep, going up with their films. Until next time, this is Comic Book Issues, and I'm your host, The Last Angry Geek.